Hi guys, it's Katie. Thank you so much for joining me on today's Coffee Talk. Today I want to talk about some things to consider if you're thinking about having a career in music. Having a career in music is extremely rewarding, and one of the first things that I learned about music is the fact that music is a business. Yes, there's all these beautiful artistic things that we do, making sounds, creating art with our music, that kind of thing, which is incredible. But at the end of the day, we can't afford to pay our bills with just sounds. So we have to really understand the business side of music, and that is so important. So really understanding how business works, why it works, what works with business and what doesn't is very, very important to your success. So I would start early. If you're in high school, maybe start taking some business classes, reading some business books. When you get to college, if you decide to go, to take some time to really understand how business works in general so that you can then apply that to the music industry and be able to make a living playing your instrument. The next thing to consider is, are you a good enough artist? Is your craft good enough where you could actually pay your bills doing it? And this is a difficult question because it can be a challenge to kind of tell if what you're doing is good or not. But a good way to judge is to sort of start getting yourself out there, trying to get some paid gigs and see how you do. Now, it may take some time to develop your artistry, but at the end of the day, the only thing that we're selling is the sounds that we're making on our instrument. And so if we can't create a good sound, then we're not going to be a good artist. So really taking a look at your skill set and making sure that you have the right abilities to become a professional musician. The next thing to consider is, are you able to take criticism well? One thing that's so difficult about being a musician is the fact that we are constantly judged. It's like if you were to go to work every day and get a work review at the end of every single day on how you did. Well, that's what being a musician is like. Every time you play, you have a performance. You hope that people enjoy it. You hope that they express that joy to you. You hope that they don't dislike it. And so it's the ability to really learn from your people who are criticizing you and say, okay, I can learn from this is great, or just completely ignoring it and continuing on with your art form the way that you want it to be. The next thing to consider is, when you're getting ready for your music career, I often get asked by people, should you have a degree in music? And I don't have a good answer for you, because I think in some cases a degree in music is very, very important and essential, especially if, say, you want to play for a symphony or something like that. However, it's not important all of the time. A lot of the time you don't need a degree in music, and it's a waste of time, effort, and money when you could just be going out and making a living off of playing now. So it should be some careful consideration in terms of the cost, the reward, and what you could be doing otherwise if you weren't going to school for your music degree. If you do decide to get a degree in music, I would recommend that you try to avoid any sort of student loan debt or any expensive schools. The reason is that musicians typically don't make a lot of money, and so you want to give yourself as much opportunity to make as much money as possible. And if you have to pay off a lot of student loan debt, you may not be able to do that. So make sure that you are careful to not take on a lot of debt as you begin your music career. And the final thing that I have to recommend for you is to avoid going into debt for a high quality instrument. A lot of people like to do this. They spend a significant amount of money to try and get the right instrument, the right equipment, all on debt. Well, what this does is it makes it very difficult to pay your bills as a musician later, and it doesn't work very well. So my recommendation is to not do that, to pay for every instrument and every set of equipment that you have in cash, and be careful not to take out a lot of loans so that you're able to further your career quickly by using cash. I hope that this helps. If you have any questions, of course, check out my website.